cool. How do you ride this wave? Like, it just feels like that would be the difficult part.
But because I don't indulge in too much anything anyway, I think he only means good when he says that. And I mean, we have had conversations about all those things, but unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of time to spend with the world. So the people close to him get to spend it with him, and he can have an in-depth conversation about his clothes. Like a lot of times, people hear just the one thing that he'll say, "Man, how this happen?" Ooh.
If you're the type of person who tends to go on, hour-long explanations and really long twisting conversations that could be misinterpreted, you are not meant for 2021, because this is the era of the soundbite of the one tiny little quote out of that hour-long.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something I had to learn too. It's like, man, Twitter got so many bots and fact checkers, and it'd be like, man, you can't win, man. You might as well just. I heard Drake say, he said 48 hours, they'll be talking about somebody else. So sometimes you just gotta, if you do say something controversial, you feel like you said something that was on your mind, it's like you just gotta say it, and the world might have their opinion about it for 48 to 72 hours, and after that you come back out and you prove and you work towards that goal of being able to get people to see what you were saying, if you say something controversial, like, okay, we think they don't have this over here, then go get them. You know what I mean? And I think that's what he does better than anyone. Like, he does try to, when he does say something, even to me, I'm privy to be there. A lot of people not privy. It's like, yo, this is what I was trying to say. You know, we met with this dude, and they told him. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but you don't have that much time. Your jet is on ready to go for 2 hours, and you just walk past the stage and like, yo, this, that. Or you did an interview, this, that. You got to go somewhere because you got another meeting.
Right.
You don't have time to really sit there and be able to have a full-fledged conversation.
But okay, so throughout all this of working in Yang stuff, you also become one of the most in-demand ghostwriters / writers / working on people's albums possible. So it's like, is there ever an awkward moment where it's kind of like, I've been grinding on this shit for years, but so-and-so is requesting my services over here, or is it kind of like a fluid thing where you're able to move around?
I mean, most of the time it's guys that I've already been in the studio with, probably like with him, or some of my friends that are in the music industry, so it's not that hard. I just think, man, like, it's only like, I heard this thing called the 5%, and it's like, it's only 5% of the artists that pay all the bills in the music industry. At the time I came, it was like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, Justin Bieber, and Drake or something. Then everybody else just are like billboards in so many words. You just put the label on your back, put the stamp on your CD, and just be like, hey, I put out my album, you recoup. If you don't, that's the thing. But the people who keep the lights on are just 5 to 10 artists. And if I wrote or are friends or assisted 7 of them, it's like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, how big could I have been myself? We could debate that, but we know what they are.
So let me put myself in your shoes. Okay. When the audio, the little snippets of you rapping some very significant parts from Astro World come out, man, and you, as a guy who is featured on these, this must have been the best feeling of like, hell yeah, now finally everybody knows that I actually wrote that song. Because you're not allowed to be out there saying it. It would be a bad taste. It would probably violate some kind of agreement. But here it is for the world to see.
I ain't like it. I like, we came up with that together. You know what I'm saying? Like, me, I don't want to devalue myself. I'm not going to do that. Because I did have a significant part. But it's like to be able to deliver somebody's thoughts and be able to put them down for them when they have a meeting with Nike going on, Dior going on, I got a new Jordan, I had surgery on my mouth, It's like, I'm just really there to help out. I don't see myself as like, because you got to think, this is one of the biggest artists in the world. You got anybody in there to help. So it's just me just being there as a friend. It's cool. Like, which album sound like he's playing? It's crazy. I knew that was the one that didn't have the same BPM as all the rest of them. I knew that was the one that fit a universal check. And And we were just in there vibing, smoking, and just be like, nah, say this. Just like bounce ideas off.
Feels like a violation of that relationship in some way when the snippet leaks.
Yeah, because that's not, I wouldn't say that's fully how it is, because before I was around Trav was a successful artist.
Right.
So it'd be wrong for me to just say it's all because of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I do think I had a big part in it, but any producer / writer that comes in is gonna have a part of cultivating. That's why he called you. He didn't call you because he felt like he couldn't do it himself. He called you to get more information on what I'm trying to do on this album and how would I do it? What would you do? What flow would you use? Okay, I see why you would do that. I see why you would use that melody. So that's really what it is. It ain't like. And this is why I tell people all the time. People like, man, what you think about ghostwriting? Because everybody say this about
Hostile stealth chopper inbound.
when you already conquered rap, Travis, Drake, Kanye, they speak for the genre of rap. So when they go to the Grammys, when they go to the highest level of music, we want y'all representatives. So the whole hip-hop industry has something to do with a trap album. The whole hip-hop industry has something to do with a Kanye, a Drake album. Because they didn't have the resources. I want every producer that, I want them to do what they do. Bring them up. Who do mixing, bring them up. Who do writing mix, bring them up. Who do anybody. Bring them up here, because I'm going to fly them out and see what they got. So everybody's contributing to our best artists to be able to put them on the stage next to Adele. Adele and Sam Smith walk up there, and it's 30 people up there with them. I want to thank the violinist, the writer, the lieutenant, the trumpet player, the piano, the producer, the whoop. They got a whole long list. But a rapper, he got to go up there. I want to thank God, the engineer, myself. Like, it's hard to compete with 30 great musicians, and we trying to represent for rap or hip hop, and we can only be in there with the engineer and some weed. Right. It's like, so you're not gonna be able to beat them 30 people who can read music and heard all the time, they researched it. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to compete with albums of the year. That's what we doing for hip hop. So artists like Drake, artists like Kanye, them, they have to get all the information from our huddles. Like, no, okay, right. And then they go present it to the world and say Adele or this country song or whoever, see if y'all can compete with that. And they go back and get their brainstormers and they come up with their music and say, Kanye, see if you can beat that. Drake, see if you can beat that. Right. You know, and that's what music is. That's what pushes the music industry and just in the whole.
Because we all have the idea that like a rap song is the producer and the rapper. But for me as a person who runs a business, it's like I would have to be a really egotistical fucking asshole to think that my ideas for a t-shirt are the best ideas for a t-shirt. I hire a graphic designer. I hire multiple graphic designers. They figure out the t-shirts, you know? At a certain point as a rapper, like, and you know, I'm someone who, I loved Kanye's music and his verses before he probably even had writers. Like, he's capable. Right. But at a certain point, it's like, well, when I know a guy who I can hire to have part of my team, and I know for a fact that he's one of the best rappers in the world, i.e. you, I would have to be a kind of a crazy person to not want to enlist the help of people like that, especially when he exists on such a giant level.
Exactly. And it's like, he already know he influenced me. Like, it's like, you hear how many artists sound like Drake? Like, y'all singing about me more than, because what he doing is natural. Then you got people that just sit there and study. They so infatuated with it, they just study. It's like, man, to the point where you could do Ye better than Ye can do Ye. Because you just studied this man more than he just living his regular life.
And he has to run all these businesses and shit. And meanwhile, there's rappers who don't have anything going on, and they get to think about rap all day.
Exactly. And at the time, he was that same rapper. He was in the studio helping other people, making sure their songs is right. Writing verses for, like, so it's like one hand watch the other, both hands watch the face.
For sure. Were you there when Kanye and Chance got into it in this vibe?
No, I wasn't there.
It's okay, you can just tell me everything.
No, I wasn't there. But it wasn't what the, like, that was a bad depiction of what that was. Okay. You know, a lot of times, like I said, they so close like brothers, you don't argue. Like, that's normal. Like, but they make it seem like it was more egregious than what it is. But one thing about it is like, man, you gotta know who Tom Brady is. And that's what it is. I ain't questioning Tom Brady. No disrespect, but bro, if that's what's on your heart, that's what's on your heart. If I thought you was a foul individual, I wouldn't fuck with you no more. I don't think that's what he meant. It's like he's privy to certain information because he can meet with every sheik in the world. He can meet with every governor, every president, every leader of a kingdom. So he gonna have information that Twitter doesn't have. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be some things he get to talk about with some world leaders and some activists and some historians, that things that people ain't gonna find on the internet. So if he say something, he would have to explain where I got it from, what origin it is, where part of who I spoke with to be able to say
Deathmatch.
Slavery was a choice.
Right.
Like, you'd be like, man, what the are you talking about? But a lot of times when you speak of our people, you only start with slavery. The world's been here for 200,000 years. You know what I'm saying? What were we doing prior? You saying we ain't had no kings? You said we ain't had no time? Shit, Genghis Khan ran everything. And people slaved Genghis Khan. It was like, God works in a mysterious way. He gonna bring that, he gonna shift that power to each group of people, different parts of the world's existence. And we just happen to be living in this one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where, if you don't know the history of what he's reading or the people he's speaking with, he might just say something that may be controversial, but it's for you to do your research. And I think even when he does say controversial things, people educate themselves. We start having real conversations. Man, that ain't right. And this, and that. Then I start learning more. Like, I seen so many people cuss him out, bro. I had to do my own research. Like, bro, am I tripping? Because I've heard 6 people come in here and just, his best friends. I'd be like, so I'm looking, I had to educate myself, and I realized, okay, I understand what he was saying. I ain't finna let them deter my feelings of somebody that changed my life and changed everybody in here life from cussing them out.
Regardless of what you think about that particular statement or what he was intending to say, I think that it's a really scary state of affairs if people are scared to have interesting conversations because they're scared that they're gonna think the wrong way. You know, in a perfect world, like, people should be so free to examine all the different potential routes of thought that you should be able to dabble in thinking of things that are clearly not ideal. You should be able to, like, at least let your brain float there and see it from a different perspective, or try to make sense of things. And if we really make it so that, like, your career is over as soon as you say something that's offensive, just for you pondering it, that's a very negative state of affairs.
That's a scary state of affairs. You know, like, people don't know how scared it's like, hold on, so you saying I can't be think, I can't be like, okay, but what about this? Well, what about this? I can't say what about this? Then it's like you can't question nothing. They can tell you, it's snowing in Texas. But it ain't melting. What's going on? Like, why does it look like flat? It's like, you don't know. Why are you questioning it?
But that is a weird one, because it's like, you know, myself, I would assume that the snow is melting, and then in reality, just using the lighter, it's turning on the gas right away. That's why it's not melting.
But whatever. Right.
Okay. But, you know, there's like a childlike wonder. I wouldn't necessarily assume. I think probably a lot of the people who are melting the snow with lighters are like crazy ass QAnon people or some shit. But you have to allow people the room to ponder stuff.
And you just told me that it could be the gas. That's it.
I believe that that's the explanation.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. Somebody like me, if I would have never opposed that, man, what is that? What is? I say, no, you would never educated me.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I feel educated. So the same thing with him. It's like he's gonna put it out there so each other. Cause I always ask him like, man, why we ain't gotta kill the cancer yet?
Right.
So it is like COVID was tough. So it's like people have to figure out. You figure out how many different tests they did to find the right vaccine or the one that they think is right.
Right.
They have to do a lot. They gotta try. Okay, let me try hot sauce and let me try iron mixed with. You know, because we don't know.
Right.
And now they figured it out through the process of elimination and how to get the Gorilla Glue out the girl hair. The dude said, man, it was just simple science. I mixed.
I would like to see what her hair looks like right now, though. A lot of girls' hair can barely survive having some fucking hair dye in it. Never mind Gorilla Glue.
Exactly. But the scientist, the dude who said he was a scientist and a
Right.
you know, chemicals and put it together and it melted it or it got it out of hair.
Right.
But it had to, that problem had to oppose itself for that answer to come. So that's why I think it is. I think he's just willing the universe and he's pushing other people to think harder, think stronger. What are you sure? Are you positive? Or are you been living a myth? Are you living a lie? Just make sure. You know what I'm saying? Like a human wrote a book.
You just always got to keep thinking and keep asking questions.
Yeah.
If we just encourage people to accept the status quo and not continue to try to question things, then it's a very bad state of affairs.
Yeah, and we don't progress as a race. I mean, as a human race in that text.
Definitely. Do you think Kanye and Drake will ever patch shit up?
I hope so, man. I hope so. I be wanting to, like, you know, I can't really participate like I really want to. Like, I be like, I like Drake, like, you know, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? But let me tell you something, he does too. He loves Drake. He loves him, bro. You know, I just think a lot of times with him, it's like, I heard a quote when JV said, he said, man, Ye is like the dude who, the Indians are over the hill. And somebody said, hey man, who gonna go see if the Indians are over there? Now you got all these street gangsters, they're like, man, I'm going over there. They be like, I go with a horse. Take off. He'll go over the hill. They say he'll come back with arrows on his back, like, hey man, they over there. Like, but that's who he is, bro.
Right.
And it's like, he's that for every human on the world. Bro, I done seen him call lawyers and try to step into stuff that ain't got nothing to do. Like, yeah, well, that ain't got nothing to do with you. I don't like the way they picking on him, so I'm gonna give him my lawyer.
Right. Because I feel like a lot of successful people, you're always sort of running this program in your brain of like, how is my time best spent?
Yes.
And then I feel like Kanye is somebody who's sort of doing that, but he's not really like willing to really take his creative mind and put it in a box. He has to let it run free. He has to just randomly be volunteering his lawyer to someone, even though that 15 minutes that he was on the phone could clearly be spent doing something that was going to have a bigger impact.
Exactly. And that's what it is, man. That's why when they say protect me, that's a real thing, bro. I don't care. He can cry around me, scream around me, fight with me, wrestle with me. I don't have no type of way to feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand. I know who he is. Like, I've spent enough time with him to understand everything he's doing is meaning good. He's just trying to help other people. Because he's rich. He ain't got to do nothing for y'all. He ain't got to pay no money. He ain't got to do nothing. He can just be like, he's just overly just caring and giving, but he gonna request a lot. But he gonna pay you for your services as well. And you gonna be proud after that piece come out, or that album, or that shoe, or that design, or whatever it is come out. And like I said, you're gonna go down in history, and I really do believe it.
Was it ever awkward for you being that you helped out with Sicko Mode and then it was later revealed that Sicko Mode was a low-key Kanye diss? I mean, some people knew, but then Kanye tweeted about it, so then we really knew. There was a conspiracy theory for a while, and then it wasn't.
Nah, it wasn't that, bro. I didn't know, to be honest, I didn't know if it was gonna be on it.
Right.
I never heard that version. No, I just heard this. That's all I heard. So I can't say that.
Definitely. So where are you at in terms of your relationship with Kanye at this point? Obviously he's in a little bit of a weird mode right now. If you were to believe TMZ, they would be telling you not a good state of mind right now. Where are you guys at?
Man, I don't know where they be getting their information from, bro. I mean, he called me when my incident happened a couple weeks ago. He just, we just talked. He's like, man, I'm in my monk stage. I'm just being creative and being peaceful. I'm just trying to keep my mind clear. So that's all I really talk to him about. He kind of asked me where I'm at. was my headspace, and was I okay? So I didn't really get into that with him. You know, if he brings it up with me, then we'll discuss it, or I'll try to hear him out. Give him my honest opinion, even if he wants it. Sometimes I don't get my opinion. I just let him speak to me. But I mean, I've been a part of that. I don't know if it got to be signed, sealed, and delivered before I can really say anything. Because it could be like, man, just a rough patch. So, but when I spoke with him, he sounded incredible. Like, I don't think now, of course, you do. It's the woman you love, right? This is your heart. This is your family, your kids. Any dude who's saying he ain't tripping, he ain't trying to love your wife. No, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when he cried on stage about, people said his presidential run and about his abortion. Like, bro, he said, man, the fact that people think I'm crazy for crying is crazy. It's like, bro, I mean, my situation, I was so mad, I just couldn't. I was seeing my friends call me from when I met, like, some of my first friends. Like, bro, you good? You good, man? You good? I was angry. I wasn't even mad like much, but tears just came out of my eyes. Like, man, I spoke to him in 15, 20 years, he would have been at my funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like, people's life and death is like a joke now. It's on World Star. Everything, World Star. Like, bro.
Did that occur to you that if you had got killed in that situation, that it would have probably ended up sandwiched between all the other people who passed away that month? It just feels like shit is so fucked up right now that you almost assume that when somebody passes, even if they're important, it's not going to get the respect or the attention that it would normally deserve.
That's why I know I got stitches in both palms. I prayed to Jesus in the middle of the motherfucking and he brought me out. When they peeled around, it might have been 8 seconds from when I wrecked and they peeled around to see if I was in the car.
And you could tell that they were pulling back around to the...
This was the witnesses said. I ain't see that. I was...
You got knocked out? Or
nah.
Just
I
couldn't tell.
covered in the building.
Right.
Get out that seatbelt. Sunroof. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. They couldn't believe that I ain't had all this. I was blinking both ears. They were like, you didn't get black. You didn't black out. I'm like, bro. You don't know the God I serve.
When that story came out,
Amen.
a lot of people
Preach.
probably thought, like, Cyhi seems like a really nice guy. Doesn't seem like an asshole. Doesn't seem like the kind of person that you would imagine that anybody would want to hurt. But then when you kind of dive a little bit deeper into your history and stuff, it is kind of like, oh, okay, this guy really was in the streets for a long time. Is there any chances related to that, or are these, because you don't even live in Atlanta, right? So it seems even more unlikely that...
We've taken the lead.
I don't know where it came from, so I can't really speak on it. That's something that's the eerie part of it. It's just like, you don't know where it came from. But secondly, it's almost like, even when I was in the streets, I ain't do nothing that deserved a fist. I don't run off on the plug. Like, I gave me something, I gave it back to you, I paid my way. You know what I mean? A few shootouts, but who had no.
You gotta do something really fucked up, somebody might kill you like 10, 15 years later, right?
Exactly. So I thought it was definitely either a mistaken identity, or I do have friends that I grew up with that make still politics, or, Atlanta is street. It's just, rap is street, man. It's just like, you don't have these artists, these labels don't do artist development. So, how you think these records getting put out? It would be crazy to me. I go to the label, they be like, man, how you don't put your album out like the others? Hey. Oh, you mean, you talking about the 500 dudes last year who went to prison and the other 500 who died trying to put their records out? Oh, you just see the 8, 9, you see the 21s and the little babies. Them the 1 out of 1,000 that made it. You get what I'm saying? And it's still kind of hectic for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, I mean, when I first came in the game, you just had to be talented, had great music, and they be like, you know what? We're gonna sign him, we're gonna develop this, we're gonna put this out this way, you know what I mean? And it was a long-term thing. Now it's like, I want them all. You already gotta have the #1 song on the radio. So universally, if you pay 300, 400,000, not the same we do, but you use that as marketing to get the #1 song on the radio.
How the fuck is this bitch?
In the middle of Summer Hill or Bowling Home, get a #1 record on the radio. Cause he got about 3 million in the flow.
Right.
But he lost a lot of friends. He probably been to prison. He probably been shot a few times. And all we do is interview him and be like, oh, he's the supervisor in the world. But if you see now, Instagram show you every day they find shootout and get killed just to put their song out. That's deep, bruh.
Crazy.
Like, it's like Tom Brady getting in the shootout after the Super Bowl, or, you know, like Russell Wilson after the game. It's like, bro, he's a professional entertainer.
Right.
You're a professional entertainer. But you can die by this entertainment.
Yeah.
But that one, you just get to go home to your 12-bedroom mansion and everybody just want autographs and wave at you. So this is like something that we eat on ourselves. They use this to kind of eat at us like, oh, okay, y'all think y'all balling? Okay, yeah, we got something for you. And that's just what it is. So it's a lot going on in my city. Now, we the only city open. So all the rappers from
that's a good point.
Every coast of the world, United States, that's a street dude that I got a bunch of money, but my whole city closed down. I'm gonna go to Atlanta.
Right.
And now it's just like free for all. It's just like they breaking in cars, they find breaking the house, they find anything, they go sell it to the rapper crew.